Good to go.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. We'll just get right into the meeting. First of all, do we have any apologies?
We do. We've got a number of apologies this morning. One from Deputy Provost and the Deputy Convener, Donald Balsillie, Councillor Kenny Earl, Councillor Sarah Patrick, Councillor Anne Ritchie.
Okay, thank you. Move on to
David Wilson from Stirling as well, please.
Right, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, move on to item 2, declarations of interest. Is there any declarations of interest? No. Okay.
Yep.
Move on to the minute. That's pages 3 to 12. Any questions on the minute or comments?
Agreed.
Okay, happy to agree. That's fine. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item 4, which is appointment of Deputy Assessor and interim arrangements.
So that's me. Convener. It was just a short report just to advise of the outcome of the appointment process for the Deputy Assessor. You'll recall at the last meeting that you were advised that the then Deputy Assessor, Anne Gardner, was retiring, and she did retire at the start of May. So following a process, the Appointments Committee met and recruited Barbara Hector to be the new Deputy Assessor. So that's the first point of note for the board. Second point is that there's going to be a slight gap between Anne leaving and Barbara taking up her role. So following discussion with the Deputy Assessor, Paul Kelly, it was agreed that Paul Mortimer would be acting Deputy Assessor until Barbara takes up her role. And you'll see from the agenda, Paul's got a number of reports on the agenda, and he's here today. So it's to note the appointment of Barbara Hector and to welcome Paul as acting Deputy Assessor. Happy to take any questions.
Okay. Yeah, just like to welcome Paul as well. Is there any questions or comments? Councillor Robertson.
Thank you, Convener. I think really just 3.5 I've got a couple of questions on, and it's basically the ability to recruit and retrain professional staff still remains a challenge across the sector. Why can't staff be recruited across the sector?
I think you might have jumped the gun slightly.
Oh, I've moved on too quick. I do apologise. Forgive me. That's because I've not been here for a few months, so apologies.
It gives, at least that's Lindsay knows that one question that's coming later on. So that's fine.
Councillor Deacon.
Thank you very much, and yeah, welcome Barbara when she does join. When is she joining us? It's not in the report.
No, I think it is section 3.5. She's due to start on the 3rd of August.
Oh yeah, I missed that before the other day. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions? No. Okay. You happy to know? Okay, thank you. Move on to item 5. The revenue budget 25-26. That'll be Lindsay.
Thank you, Convener. Good morning. So this report provides the board with the draft financial position for the year ended 31st of March 26, as per the draft annual accounts, which are also subject to external audit. The report shows an underspend of 118,000 for the year, which is a favourable movement of 93,000 since December. Detail of the variances are provided within Table A, with the movement from the previous periods as at December shown in Table B. Employee costs continue to be the most significant variance, totalling 56,000 of an underspend, and it's noted in the paper it's mainly due to recruitment challenges and resulting delays in filling vacancies. There are also a number of variances within supplies and services, both adverse and favourable, which include an overspend on postages of 36,000 and an underspend on software maintenance of 15,000. Overall, there is a net overspend in supplies and services of 3,000. There's an overachievement of income of 65,000, mainly as a result of interest on revenue balances due to favourable interest rates on our cash management. And these are calculated at the end of the year, so are not forecast. The draft outturn will be confirmed on conclusion of the audit, and happy to take any questions on the paper. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll start off. I've got just a couple of questions. Page 19, we've got staff travel less than anticipated, staff training less than forecast, and the software maintenance costs less than anticipated. Can you just give a wee bit further detail on these?
I could hand over possibly to Paul. Are you able to give an update?
Certainly with regards to staff travel costs, we do try and encourage surveys to be done by desktop where we can. So we do budget for travel, albeit there might be an underspend because the work can be done via the desktop. With regards to the training underspend, we have had a churn of staff in the organisation over the past year, which has resulted in, for example, people undertaking a course, but then if they move on, they repay that, for example. So we have had issues of that nature as well, which has perhaps resulted in an underspend there.
Okay. Right. The software maintenance.
I don't have the full details of that. I don't know if anyone else would at the moment and what that would be. I suspect that's potentially just an underspend in terms of the budget that was agreed last year. I don't remember any cancellations of any projects or anything of that nature.
No.
So it was possibly just an overestimation initially.
Right. Okay. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Oh yeah, Provost, perfect.
Just on page 20, table 1, it says new burdens funding 82,000. What is new burdens funding? Does that just mean new things we've got to do?
Maybe like Yarrow. I don't know.
The change to the elections billing, 2022, as it says, resulted in new burdens for us, new work that we had to do, and the government provided extra funding specifically for that, and that's what that money is, and we're using that over a number of years to meet those burdens.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. So we've got Jim, do you want to come back in with your question?
Yes, Lindsay, sorry, I was leaving the room there for a minute. You forgive me. I was asking why was a problem recruiting for the sector, across the sector.
Thank you. I think the assessors are finding the same recruitment challenges with professional posts as most organisations throughout Scotland and the UK at the moment, with difficulty in recruiting because there aren't the numbers of qualified staff out there. But I just wonder if, Paul, if you wanted to say any more on that.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right. I think we are finding that a lot of people are retiring earlier as well, and instead of qualified staff, but we're tending to have more trainee values, for example. But it is a national issue rather than anything localised, and it's been going on for the past handful of years. So that's effectively where we are with the recruitment of qualified staff.
One other question, if you don't mind. I was just wondering if that may be because the staff are maybe moving elsewhere because they're more lucrative jobs with better pay. Is that an issue?
Certainly there's been movement of staff, but it tends to be between other assessors' offices. So when people move on, they tend to move on for example, promoted posts. But it tends to be within the same sector, if you will, rather than moving on to private practice or other local authorities, although that does still happen, but it's not been an issue that we've had in Central as such.
Right. Cheers, Paul. Thank you.
Okay, right. Thank you. Any other questions? No. Okay, yeah, happy to note. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 6. It's the draft annual accounts 25-26. And that's Lindsay again.
Thank you. The board has a statutory obligation to prepare a statement of accounts on an annual basis by the end of June and have these audited by an external auditor. The audited accounts must then be approved by the board by the 30th of September. In line with this, the report asks the board to approve the 25-26 draft annual accounts for submission to the external auditor to carry out the audit. The details of the audit are set out in the audit planning report, which is the next item on the agenda. As reported in the draft outturn report, the board is reporting an in-year underspend of 118,000, and this contributes to the overall surplus of 384,000 in reserves held by the board at the end of March. Of this, 186,000 is earmarked for future commitments, leaving an uncommitted reserve balance of 198,000, which is in the set limit of between 3% and 6%. There are no significant changes or new accounting policies that have been adopted in the year, and overall the draft accounts present a favourable outturn for the board and pleased to present these for approval. So again, happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions? Councillor Deacon.
Yeah, I'm just coming back up on the bit where you said there's been no changes in to reporting for the HMRC and all that, but my wife's a chartered accountant and there's been quite significant changes this year with regards to the accounts. Are we not affected by them as well?
It depends in what type of business you work in. So in terms of the Local Government Scotland Act that the board prepares its accounts in relation to, there's not been any significant changes to accounting policies. Last year we had the introduction of IFRS 16 leases. That was a significant change, but this year there hasn't been nothing that that directly impacts the board in the production of the board's draft accounts.
Thank you very much. I was just going to say that I know she was on a chartered accountant and there has been a lot of changes this year, especially in reporting, moving to quarterly for a lot. I don't know if that affected us or not. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Robertson.
I'm looking at section 3, the assumptions made in the future and other major sources of estimation and uncertainties. I'm just wondering if life expectancy assumptions were to improve by 1 year, would that impact the estimate on the pensions liabilities? Does
Thank
that make
you.
sense?
Yes, if you just bear with me till I get to the right section. Yeah, I mean, we use an independent actuary firm to work out our pension liabilities, and that's assessed on a 3-yearly basis through the triennial valuation. And so that dictates how much the board has to pay in pension contributions to make sure that they have enough money to fund the pensions when people retire. So this uncertainties and estimation is around if the life expectancy was to extend or reduce, then the potential impact on how much the pension fund would have to pay out. If people are living longer, then we have to pay out more. So that's all considered as part of the triennial valuation. So it's just an indication to say that if that's what happens going forward, if those assumptions are changed, then that would be the impact on the pension fund. In terms of the pension liability itself or the pension asset, it is a snapshot at a point in time. But obviously, if we update our assumptions through the triennial valuation, we may need to increase the contribution rate that the board pays over to the LGPS scheme going forward. And I hope that answers that, but if not, please let me know.
Right. One other question, Lindsay, thank you. What allowances has been made for the likelihood that members retire early or later than the standard assured retirement age?
Again, the retirement age is built into the assumptions that the actuary use when they calculate the pensions liability or asset. We are seeing people retire early, but in terms of if they do retire early, there is usually a strain on that pension fund. So it has to be an agreement. So I think you said members rather than employees. So
right, employees,
yeah.
I do apologise.
Yeah, so just to clarify, yeah, so employees. So if employees are retiring early, that puts a strain on the fund. But we go through an approval process for any early retirements. And as an employee, if you retire early, your pension is potentially prorated and reduced because you're taking it earlier than you would have done if you'd reached the pension age of 67 or whatever's appropriate to you at that point. So the board should not be compensating for any additional payments because employees are retiring early, unless it's a conscious decision by the board to do that for any financial reasons. And we don't have, the board doesn't have a voluntary severance scheme in place at the moment that I'm aware of.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Provost Bissett.
Thanks, Kavira. Page 9 or page 36 of the main report mentions about climate change. That work is ongoing to establish a carbon footprint of organisation, which will act as a baseline. How is that going to be done? How is a baseline going to be established, and how will the carbon be reduced in the future?
Oh, is that something you could answer?
Yeah, climate change is a standing item on our management team agenda at the moment, and we do intend on taking action forward there to establish our footprint as an organisation. But we will probably liaise with our colleagues at Clack Manager Council to take that forward and get more guidance around that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions? Councillor Robertson, you're on mute.
Thank you. I'll just look at page 71, property, plant and equipment. What external factors or indices were applied by the valuers to ensure valuations remain reflective of the current market conditions?
So the type of assets that the board has doesn't require property valuations because we don't own any property. We lease the main premises at Glendevon House, so that it's a general note in there, but it's not really specific to the board. There isn't anything that covers the board for that.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay. Are we happy to approve to go to auditors?
Approved. Agreed.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to the next item, item 7. That's the external annual audit plan 25-26. We'll go to Lindsay.
Thank you. Apologies, I would have handed over to the external auditor at this point, but as Brian mentioned at the start of the meeting, he is on a broken train and had hoped to be here. So what I'll do is just try to briefly take you through the report, and we could take back any questions to the external auditor, and we could provide written feedback if that would be appropriate.
Agreed.
Thank you. So the report sets out the annual audit plan. So this is a report that the external auditors prepare at the start of any audit on the accounts that have just been approved to pass to them. So it sets out their materiality levels, and those haven't changed significantly from the previous year. It also sets out significant risks. And again, these are significant risks that are pretty general across most of the bodies that the auditors do audit. But they look through their audit planning work to identify if there's any specific risks to the VJB, and they've included them there. So that forms part of their testing to enable that. The report also sets out the timeline, which once they have receipt of the annual accounts, which they will get today, they then engage with us to complete the audit, and we'll present back to the board in September. There is quite a lot of detail in the report around the use of AI and how they do their testing that I think is quite interesting, and this is the first time we've seen a lot of detail of that, but it just gives an insight into how they do that. The report also covers their wider scope work, on page 115 of the pack, which is section 2, and the wider scope areas, and that's also part of their review. They'll be looking at financial sustainability, etc. when they do their audit. So apologies, I can't go into any more detail. I will try and answer any questions, but if there is anything, we can pass them on to the external auditor.
Okay, thanks, Lindsay. Do we have any questions?
No, I'm happy with that.
Okay. Right, no other questions. Okay, you happy to note?
Agreed.
Noted.
Thank you. Move on to the next item, item 8. That's the best value report 25-26. That's Paul.
Thank you. Yep, the report is provided there. It's a report on performance showing the performance levels of the assessor's work completed between April 1st April 25 and the 31st of March 26. Primary key performance indicators are time periods within which alterations to the valuation list and the valuation role are completed, with targets set for how quickly we expect to do so. In terms of the valuation role, the primary target is to complete alterations to the role within 3 months, with a target of 60%. In the period detailed, did miss that, we achieved 45%. And for the valuation list, the target is 85% amendments within 3 months, and the actual level achieved was slightly below 81%. The targets have been reviewed for 2026-27, but we've determined that we maintain existing targets of 60% within 3 months, 82% within 6 months, the remainder above. The report relates to the results are disappointing, but there are a number of factors influencing this, been impacted by changes to self-catering accommodation that we've dealt with, the movement to the 2-stage proposal and appeals system is still being adapted to and dealt with, and also was the period within which the first three-yearly revaluation was completed, with the draft rule issued on in November and the final rule issued for the 1st of April in 2026. So significant bodies of work being completed in within time period. Targets being maintained. They were reviewed and reduced slightly last year to take consideration of this. We feel that they remain realistic, albeit that we missed them this year. We hope to maintain them and achieve them going forward. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Do we have any questions or comments?
Yes. You happy with that?
No. Okay. Happy to note?
Happy to note.
Yep, noted.
Okay, thank you. Right, I'll move on to item 9. That's the valuation proposals and appeals progress report. That's Paul again.
Thank you. So, in this report relates to the review or the work done by the assessor in terms of proposals and appeals throughout the period. Primary body of work relates to a proposal and appeals from the 2023 revaluation. As noted, these are dealt with over the 2-tier system, with proposals initially, and where they are not resolved agreeably, they can be taken to appeal level. This is a new system that we've been dealing with for the past 3 years, and really only just getting to the point where appeals are being dealt with, so we're still working through that process. in terms of numbers, all of the tables are there. All of the revaluation proposals, that were lodged have been dealt with and resolved timeously. 100 going on to be lodged as appeal. There remain a number of outstanding other proposals running roll, new interest and error and material change of circumstance proposals. They have different resolution dates, so we are working for them to resolve them by their individual disposal dates. We also have some outstanding 2017 appeals. These were from the old system, so there was no proposal there. They are just appeals. Any remaining, there are a number, I think 24 running roll appeals, so I can't find the number there. But around about 20 to 30 appeals remaining from the 2017 revaluation. And these are all currently sitting at the upper tier tribunal, awaiting further movement from them. So they're out with our control at this part, albeit that we continue to see if they can be resolved without any further tribunal. And similar with the 2010 appeals, there are a handful that remain that are sitting with the upper tier. But again, we do continue to try and resolve them as if we can prior to hearing. Yeah, that's about it. I'm happy to take questions.
Thanks, Paul. Do we have any questions or comments? No. Okay, you happy to know?
Happy to know.
Thank you.
No.
I will move on to item 10. That's the report on the mail and printing contract. That's Paul Kelly.
Great, thanks, Convener. This report is on our mail printing and postage arrangements and seeking approval for a proposed contract award. Our current call-off contract for printing and mailing services procured through the Scottish Government framework is due to expire on the 30th of June. The framework itself closed to new call-offs in July 2025 and is no longer available. The nearest equivalent now is the Government Commercial Agency framework, which differs in that it includes multiple suppliers rather than a single provider model. The current arrangements that we have, we've been working with Royal Mail alongside their print partner, CFH, and this contract has operated very effectively for the board. It has enabled the use of hybrid mail, meaning the vast majority of our correspondence is printed and dispatched remotely, with minimal local printing required. This has given us flexibility and reliability in handling high volumes of statutory and operational mail. In terms of operational importance, these services are critical, particularly to support the annual canvass, which must be delivered between July and November in both 2026 and 2027. And given the statutory requirement, continuity of service is essential. The proposal before the board is to make a direct award to our existing providers, CFH and Royal Mail, through the Government Commercial Agency framework, extending arrangements until 30th of November 2027. Because the framework separates printing and postal services into two lots, two direct awards are required to maintain the current integrated service. There are key advantages to this approach. It provides continuity of a proven and reliable service. It avoids a resource-intensive procurement exercise, and it maintains a competitive pricing comparable to our current contract. It retains flexibility as the arrangement operates on a drawdown basis with no standing charges. It does not commit the board to full-term usage, allowing us to explore alternatives if needed. If we do not proceed with this route, we could still access Royal Mail services, but it would be at the full public domestic rates, which are likely to be higher than those under the contractual framework. A further benefit of the framework is the introduction of an economy class postage option alongside first and second class. While economy delivery might take slightly longer, it would be suitable for most routine correspondence and offers reduced postage costs, which is important given that the postage is the main cost pressure in this area. For time-critical communications such as election periods, we would continue to use first-class postage services. In financial terms, we estimate the value of the contract to be in the region of approximately £270,000, and therefore board approval is required per the contract standing orders. The procurement manager at Clackmannanshire Council has been consulted in preparing this proposal. And in conclusion, the recommendation ensures continuity, value for money and operational resilience at a critical time for the board. Therefore, as the board approves a direct award to CFH and Royal Mail through the Government Commercial Agency Framework until the 30th of November 2027.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Do we have any questions? Councillor Spears.
Thank you. Is there any moves at looking at maybe going digital rather than the high cost first class post? I've never found a difference when I posted anything first or second class. It takes the same length of time to get there, but costs you more. So is there any moves to try and go digital and use email to people?
Certainly, Councillor, the vast majority we do try and do by email in the first instance, but there are pieces of correspondence where there is a statutory need to issue by post. So if the Deputy Earl wants to add to that.
Yeah, no, definitely where we have an email address and it's appropriate to send by email, we do so. As Paul said, certain items that of the process, like confirmation of someone is added to the register, we're required to send that to the House because that gives a security and integrity to the register that they are actually living there at the time. So that has to go by post, even by email addresses. But we do try our best to reduce the number of postage, and we've taken a number of steps over the years to do that. Previously things were in colour, so we've reduced that to mono, black and white, so it's cheaper. As I say, we only send first class really when it's urgently up to the deadlines. Most of the time we currently send second class, and this proposal will allow us to do economy class, which again can work out 7, 8, 10 pence cheaper per item depending on what you're sending. So it adds up to a fair amount of money.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Robertson.
Thank you, Convener. So the board are obviously happy with the current arrangements, but I'm wondering, were there any other tenders put in by other providers?
So the commercial, the government commercial framework is effectively a consortium arrangement. So my understanding of that is that effectively a tender exercise to some extent has been done at the government side, and because it is a consortium, the contract standing orders that the board have allow us to sign up to that without doing a full tender exercise. So it's because it's effectively been done at the government's end in terms of vetting and all the rest of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we're happy to approve the direct award to CFH and the Royal Mail.
Agreed.
Until 27.
Yeah, happy to approve. Convener.
Okay, thank you. Well, that concludes our business today. So thanks for coming along, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Nice to see everyone. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.